Hello, everybody, and welcome to Prediction Boxing. Today, I'm here to talk about the case regarding Prichard Colon, a boxer who sadly passed away recently. I've never heard of him before, never. I've not ever seen this fight before, and the reason why I'm making this video is because I had seen it a few days ago on YouTube because his name just popped up. Obviously, I'm a fan of boxing. I like boxing, so I just checked it out. What happened to this guy? And I was so shocked at what I saw. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I just couldn't believe what I witnessed when he fought this guy. I can't even remember that asshole's name, to be honest. But Prichard Colon was a up and coming boxer. He had talent. He was a pretty good boxer. A prospect. Fought this other guy. Let me just find out what his name is. Okay, I'm just gonna figure out what his name is. Okay. So the other guy's name was Terrell Williams, and I'm looking on Wikipedia, and it just disgusts me to my gut how that fight was even officially made a loss or a win. Okay. Now, like I said earlier, Prichard Colon sadly passed away because he suffered severe brain damage, and this was due to multiple hits to the back of the head. I'm talking about I'm not talking about these hat punches like this with the when you're clinching and you're doing this. I'm talking about hooks to the back of the head, power punches, multiple power punches to the back of the head. It's clear, you can see it happening. It's disgusting what happened, and even after he complained of having pain at the back of his head, and you know what, I think that to be honest, it was too late now. When he started feeling pain at the back of his head, he I think he was already having bleeding there, at the back of his head. It really, I mean, you never know, he could have been saved had it been stopped then. But even though he complained and they stopped the fight for 5 minutes, and he was complaining, about pain, it still continued. But the boxer, this guy Terrell Williams, still viciously hit him at the back of the head multiple times afterwards. He viciously hit him at the what I mean he never it wasn't I mean there are rules in boxing, obviously, but he never beat Colon the proper way because he didn't have the skill to beat Colon. And Colon, because Colon was tricky, he resorted to hitting him at the back of the head, okay, with power shots. And actually, this happened early. This happened bloody early. This was he was already hitting him at the back of the head. He had a plan. This guy, Terrell, had a plan to go in the fight and hurt this kid. To hurt him. I'm talking about hurt him. Yeah, I mean, he did. And what makes me sick about it is even after the fight, he started tapping him in the back of the head and go, "Oh, it's fine. We're friends again." It's that was a good fight. Yeah, well, you did really well. To be honest, that's a psychopath. A psychopath is he knew what he had done, hitting him with power punches to the back of the head multiple times. He had already seen Prichard in pain, and like on the ground, and he still did it. What was he? I mean, he didn't fight fair at all, and he knew exactly what he was doing. I'm sorry, he knew what he was doing. This guy's a psychopath. I mean, that's all I can say. And the referee, I mean, oh my word, he was like, I don't know. I mean, you could say, were they in cahoots? Were they in cahoots with each other? And the referee did nothing on purpose. Those are clear punches to the back of the head, cringeworthy punches. Well, sadly, he went. Prichard, after that fight, fell into a coma for over 200 days, and suffered severe irreversible brain damage. I mean, it's so sad. I don't know the guy. I've never heard of him before. But it's just when I saw the fight, I just saw what happened, and nobody intervened. Nobody came in. That was one of the worst. That's actually probably the worst fight I've ever seen in terms of getting hit at the back of the head. Those were like proper power punches to the back of the head. Multiple. Multiple. Maybe you could say that someone could do that with a. If someone dodged and they just hit the back of the head because it was a dodge, right? But this was not. No. This was intentional, targeted, back of the head, punches. I mean, it's sad. I mean, I think that. I mean, it's a box. It's going to be very hard, obviously. Can you say to prove this or whatever, to open it, because it's a boxing match. You're supposed to, hurt people in boxing. Really, you are supposed to hurt, and it's very dangerous. But like I said, there are rules that needed to be followed that weren't followed, and these are the things that there are rules before the fight, not to hit the back of the head, and these rules were broken. You see, they were broken, and the referee should have known about this. He should have known about this, and not give like. I believe it was like really late, like 7 rounds, that he then deducted a point. What the fuck is a point worth? The guy's got brain damage now. The guy's got freaking brain damage. What's a point worth? This reminds me so much of when I went to a boxing. I fought in a boxing club. Some years back, and I was quite a novice at the time. I was quite a novice. So there were these random guys lining up to fight this amateur boxer, and he was a proper amateur boxer, all right. And so they would take turns, and I was part of the lineup. I had practiced a little bit of boxing before, but what I was unaware of was obviously countering. I wasn't used to countering because I was inexperienced, and I didn't realize that you could duck and then counter, or block and then counter. I didn't realize you could do these things because I was a novice. But what I was really good at I was really good at dodging punches. I was good at dodging punches. So when it was my turn to fight this amateur boxer, we went toe to toe, but he couldn't hit me at all. He just couldn't hit me. He was like. I moved, I ducked and weaved, and he just couldn't, and he got so frustrated because he couldn't hit me. And then when we got into the clinch, that's when he started hitting me at the back of the head. He started hitting me, he started doing this. And I was like kind of like quite a novice. I was saying, this is not right, because I started feeling pain at the back of my head. And the coach, the fucking asshole coach, did nothing about it. He was just watching, go, yep, continue, and then and separate us. But and he was hitting me, obviously, at the back of the head when we were in the clinch. Yeah, and I was doing this, holding the back of my head, right? And we continued again. And he couldn't hit me. He just couldn't hit me. It's only when we went into the clinch that he started hitting me at the back of the head. Yeah, he couldn't hit me. and I was so exhausted because at the time, like I said, I was a novice. I didn't do the proper training. I didn't know how to last in the ring, and I was exhausted like in the second round, and I kept on clinching because I was exhausted. But he couldn't get me with clean shots at all. Only the back of the head hits when we were clinching, right? And the third round, I was just so exhausted. I just went down on myself. I just sat down. But when I sat down on the fucking canvas, he punched my face while I was sitting down on the fucking canvas. The motherfucker, right? So the motherfucking boxer, and I was exhausted. I could do nothing. And then the coach goes, "Oh, we don't do that here, right? We don't do that here. We don't do that kind of thing here." I didn't go to that boxing club again after that. Now they're fucking cunts. I'll tell you that right now. But the fact is, he couldn't hit me. He just didn't know any way of hitting me. He couldn't get to hit me, and he was an amateur boxer, right? I was just so like novice. I couldn't counter him. I would, if I knew counters, had I trained like properly, I would have countered his ass already ages ago. I would have countered it. Hell, I would have thrown in an elbow. What the fuck? But yeah. So this reminded me very much of my encounter when I fought this amateur boxer at a boxing club. How I was getting hit at the back of the head, and luckily it was only for like 3 rounds. Had that gone like for 12 rounds or even 10 rounds, right? It would have been horrible because getting constantly punched at the back of your head. You stop feeling pain at the back. You stop feeling this slight pain. Like you're thinking, what's that pain I'm feeling right at the back of my head? I'm feeling some kind of pain. What is that? I didn't know about it at the time, but now I know exactly, how I was fucking treated at that fucking boxing club. Yeah. And like so. Yeah. I really feel for Prichard. If you ask me, it should be thoroughly investigated. Thoroughly, the referee, the boxer should go to jail. They should go to fucking jail. The referee shouldn't referee anymore. The boxer shouldn't even box anymore. He should be banned from boxing because of his ethics. He's a psychopath. He is a psychopath. And then afterwards you start being friendly. It was a good fight. Fuck off, man. That ain't right. So anyway, rest in peace, Prichard Colon.